Hello and welcome to the NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. This week we are going to be discussing the Congress party's tryst with Hinduism. Suddenly we have Rahul Gandhi trekking off to Kailash Mansarovar, displaying his inner Hindu, and all this would be very well, but when it comes in the backdrop of the 10 years of UPA government, then it does raise a few eyebrows. The BJP calls it temple tourism, and why not? Because the UPA government was all about pandering to the minorities, what Dr. Manmohan Singh said so famously, giving them the first right to our resources, and also leaving, I would say, a gap open for the BJP and Prime Minister Modi to make that display and come into power in 2014. So now, is Rahul Gandhi doing a course correction, and how successful would that be? Joining me on the roundtable to discuss this is Aarti Jairaj, she is a senior journalist and political commentator, Radhika Ramaseshan, consulting editor with the Business Standard, Sanjeev Acharya, a senior journalist and columnist, and we have Pankaj Vora, managing editor for the Sunday Guardian. Aarti, how impressed are you with Rahul's moves, and do you think this is a much needed course correction? You know, apart from, let's go step back from what the BJP is saying, the Congress does need to, widen its ambit and, regain its lost Hindu vote.
Well, I don't know whether it's the right thing to do or whether it's going to be successful or not. I can see the reasons why Rahul is doing it, because I think, like the RSS is trying to shake off its fascist tag, which Rahul has attached to RSS. I think the Congress is now desperately trying to shake off its pro-Muslim tag, which, the BJP is constantly reminding them of. And, it's something which many people in the Congress feel also, that they have been branded as a pro-Muslim party. So they need to somehow get rid of that. And I think that that is one of the main compulsions behind this recasting of Rahul as, some sort of as a Hindu, born-again Hindu, discovering, saying that he's a Shiv Bhakt, talking about his Janeo, and, Surjewala recently famously was caught on video saying that Brahmanism is in the Congress's DNA.
Correct.
So, clearly there is a political compulsion behind this. But, it's something which, it's a very difficult act to do. Look at Gandhi, who used a lot of Hindu imagery through the freedom struggle, very much a devout Hindu, talked about Ram, used to have bhajan sessions and all that. And yet, he was such a strong secularist, that was very much, he went to Calcutta when those riots happened shortly after partition, went on a fast, said he's not going to move till Hindus and Muslims stop killing each other. He even threatened to go to Pakistan, and he was able to manage, manage that thing, balance that thing of being a Hindu and yet speaking so strongly for minority rights, because I think he practiced what he preached, by going to Calcutta and sitting there, for the, to try and stop the communal riots. Indira Gandhi was another one who, also cleverly balanced it. She was very much a Hindu, wore her Rudraksh mala, visited temples all the time, and yet she was also perceived as someone who stood for, Congress values of secularism and, spoke out very strongly, for the minorities. Now, the question is, will Rahul be able to do that? It's all very well to say that, I'm a born-again Hindu and I'm a Shiv Bhakt and I'm going off to Kailash Mansarovar. But the fact is that the Congress's one of its basic political principles is secularism. It is, wedded to that principle. So, he can't be the team B of the BJP. He can't, try to copycat the BJP. So, I don't know whether he's going to be able to do the balancing act. I'm afraid he is in danger perhaps of committing the kind of flip-flop mistakes that his father did, where, he first opened the Rajiv Gandhi, first opened the locks of, the Babri Masjid, then he did the Shah Bano judgment, then he did Shilanyas, and he ended up as neither fowl nor fish. So let's see whether Rahul is able to do that balance, maintain the balance that, say, greater leaders like Mahatma Gandhi and Indira Gandhi were able to do.
Are you as skeptical of Rahul's latest moves?
It's fraught with all kinds of risks, this business of trying to be Hindu and yet trying to reassert your secularism. you know, Rajiv Gandhi's was a very good example which you have quoted. Indira Gandhi managed to pull it off because she learnt her lesson in 1966 when the sadhu, certain clerics who were, I mean, there was no VHP. I mean, the VHP hadn't quite manifested itself, but these sadhus had got together and demanded a law against cow slaughter, which she refused to give in to. And then we know what happened. They massed around Parliament, and you know, police had to open fire, and some of them were killed. I think that probably was a kind of a lesson for her, that there is something like the Hindu vote, and there are in the Hindu issues that you cannot completely ignore on peril of losing your basic constituency. Because let's not forget, for ages the Congress was India's Hindu party. Although there was always a tussle between the pro-Hindutva elements, there were enough and more in Congress, and those who wanted the Congress to stick firmly, scrupulously to its secular ideals. So it was always an interplay between the two, and I think Mrs. Indira Gandhi went by circumstances in that case. Later, of course, she wore her Rudraksh mala and the rest of it, and I remember the late Pramod Mahajan saying that the first two really Hindutva elections were fought in 71 and later in 84. He said that, you know, Ram Janmabhoomi and etc. came much later, and in both cases the Congress was the chief protagonist, the chief beneficiary, beneficiary of the Hindu votes. So coming back to this case, I mean, I'm just going by the impressions I gained in Gujarat, where for the very first time I think Rahul seriously played the Hindu card. I think to a great deal it blunted the opposition that the Congress traditionally had from the strong Hindu votaries in Gujarat. If the Congress didn't succeed in getting to a majority, it was for other reasons. It was not for lack of credibly playing the Hindu card or whatever. So Gujarat, I mean, it's as great a Hindutva laboratory as you can find, and Rahul did succeed. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. I mean, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh don't have a very big minority population, but to an extent you will see the impact of the soft Hindu card that he's doing, and I think on the whole it's not a bad move at all. Because you just go by the reactions of the BJP's IT cell chief Amit Malviya. I mean, peevish, you know. He's accusing Rahul of having some chicken kurkure in Kathmandu, and then later he said he referred to Shiva as it instead of the great Lord. I mean, you know, this is petty quibbling. And but his reactions do show that there is a certain degree of consternation in the BJP. I wouldn't say it's panic, but a consternation.
Which is why, Sanjeev, you know, what the Congress is saying, that they are saying the BJP's version of Hinduism, Hindutva is fascist. We are giving you a softer, more secular approach. Will the people buy this?
Then why there is so much reaction in BJP? If they see that Rahul Gandhi is wrong, then why this person like Chaube from Bihar is calling names like Naliga Kida and all other things? It shows that, you know, they are frustrated. They are afraid that Congress is doing the same, and since what Radhika says, Congress had been a Hindu party always. Exactly. They know Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Pandit Kamalapati Tripathi, Pandit Narayan Dutt Tiwari, Pandit Vidyacharan Shukla, they have been doing it for long.
But Rahul has thrown all the Pandits out of the CWC, as he told us.
That is true. That is true that Janardhan Dwivedi, Joshi, Voraji, everybody is out now. But at the same time, you see what, as a journalist covering Congress party, I can say that, you know, this is a course correction, which you said, for Congress party. Earlier it was left of the center, now they are trying to be right of the center at present. And after Gujarat election and Karnataka election, Gujarat he visited 27 temples, and the seats which Rahul Gandhi campaigned for, they won. So they think that it is working in their favor. So why not peddling soft Hindutva? He says that I am not doing soft Hindutva, but it is true that it is working in their favor. So look at this Mansarovar. Neither Amit Shah nor Modi can go there. They can go to Mahakal temple or Somnath temple. But not
maybe Modi, we've seen his yoga videos, so don't underestimate him.
No, but that is, then let him go. But you can't criticize. What I see, that what you asked me, for Rahul Gandhi or for Congress party, it is working in their favor because they want to win election, they want to come back, no academic debates, no ideological debates, practical approach that they have to adopt this, and they are doing it.
Pankaj, they're doing it, but then at the same time, Rahul is also reaching out to Muslim intelligentsia, people trying to, you already have the Muslim vote. Either you underplay it and then go all out. Why walk in this middle of the road?
No, Congress did not get the Muslim vote for many years. That's why Congress is where it is. The regional parties were, getting the Muslim vote by and large. There's a huge dilemma before Rahul. On one hand, he's trying to cash in on the legacy of his grandmother, who was, accepted amongst the Hindus.
Right.
His problem is, Rahul's problem is, he and his mother do not have that kind of acceptability which Indira Gandhi had amongst the Hindus. So he's trying to, on one hand, he's trying to do course correction that, the party which was perceived to be pro-Muslim or rather more pro-Christian during the time when Sonia Gandhi was in power, was the president, he's trying to do course correction. No, we are for everybody. We are an inclusive party. On the other hand, he's trying to blunt the BJP's criticism. BJP has so far been, attacking the Congress party. I mean, the only thing which BJP has to show all these years, is, its commitment to Hindutva politics. Otherwise, so far as performance and governance is concerned, it has left much to be desired. And the only card which BJP will play to, win back Lok Sabha in the next elections is if it succeeds in playing the Hindutva card. Now Rahul is trying to take away that, away from them. Rahul knows that, his party has been obsessed with the Dalits and the minorities. And, that obsession gets reflected when you look at the leaders of the opposition in the parliament. Kamal Nath should have ideally been the leader of the Congress party, having won 9 elections in Lok Sabha, but he was denied that. And he's also, aware that, BJP also is making certain shifts in its strategy. For instance, you have huge hoardings of Vajpayee. Vajpayee was missing for 4.5 years, and suddenly you have Vajpayee because you want to cash in on his moderate image. And, and you also want to appeal to the Brahmins that, there was a Brahmin Prime Minister, the last Brahmin Prime Minister of India, and he was in our party. So, and the kind of, sentiments his death evoked, cutting across party lines. BJP is doing course correction also. So Rahul is also doing it. There's nothing wrong. And he does not need to be apologetic for being a Hindu, even if he, people may accuse him that he has only 25% DNA in his blood, Hindu DNA in his blood. But that does not matter. I mean, it makes no difference even if somebody else has 100% DNA. You have to be a good human being. You have to be a good politician. You have to be ideologically committed, and you should do things for the country. And if he is able to, blunt the BJP attack, half his battle is won. He knows that Congress cannot come to power, but he can certainly blunt the BJP attack.
He knows that Congress cannot come to power. Do you agree with that comment?
Well, I think that the Congress has a long way to go before it can get a majority of its own. As you know, their organization has become quite weak and decayed. And in key states which send like which altogether send about 200-300 members to the Lok Sabha. Look at the big states, UP, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal. I mean, the Congress is a very, very small factor there. So, I mean, if you're talking about the Congress getting a majority, yes, I think Rahul has his head pretty much, screwed on his shoulders. His feet are on the ground. I think he's aware of, the Congress's weaknesses, what the Congress can do in 2019. And you can see the strategy that he's evolving, where he is, increasingly letting the Congress take a back seat. He's not making claims to lead, any kind of anti-Modi front or be projected as the Prime Minister. It's some cheerleaders around him who are actually making the noises. I think Rahul himself is being very practical. He knows that right now the battle is to defeat the BJP and get them out. And then the next round will come later. So I think he's pretty much, sort of, I mean, the fact that he is, sort of now trying to project himself as a Hindu leader, I think is an admission of a realization in the Congress that there is a Hindu vote out there, a Hindu constituency, which people like Gandhi and Indira Gandhi and all catered to, but somehow over the last 10 years, the Congress just lost sight of that, the last 10, 15 years. So obviously he's trying to regain that vote, and as Radhika pointed out in Gujarat, and I think what is really key in Gujarat is that, the Congress did very well in rural Gujarat, not so much in urban Gujarat. And I think, obviously the kind of Hindu appeal that Rahul is making is aimed at the rural Hindu, much more than the urban Hindu, who tends to be more sort of, Hindutva rather than Hindu.
Right.
So I think that Rahul's strategy is aimed at the rural Hindu, who is a much more traditional kind of Hindu, and therefore is much more in tune with the kind of inclusive, softer Hinduism that Rahul is trying to push, rather than this hardline Hindutva, ultra-nationalist kind of Hinduism, which the BJP is
now
trying
a very
to.
angry red poster on the back of most cars.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, Hinduism, I think for by and large is a much more benign religion than Hindutva, than the BJP's Hindutva.
There's also another layer to it. The thing is, Rahul's Hindutva projection has something to do with preventing Mamata Banerjee from emerging as a prime leader of a proposed opposition, alliance. Because, when he keeps on projecting himself and has, acolytes like Randeep Surjewala keep on saying that, there's a Brahmin blood DNA in Congress, etc., etc. It is in a way also trying to prevent, because Mamata Banerjee right now is considered by many political analysts and also political players to be the most potential threat to the present BJP government in case she is accepted as the leader of the alliance. So somewhere down the line, it is also to derail her the way the Congress politics works.
Okay. So we're going to take a break and come back and take a look at the larger narrative of Rahul's Hinduism, because as a very senior Congress functionary who spoke to us, to journalists recently, said that what Rahul believes in is something called, what he said, a Shiv Shakti kind of ideology, which is a combination of both the masculine and the feminine, a more softer approach rather than the aggressive, in your face, what Aarti said, the aggressive Hindutva of the BJP. So is he successful in selling this picture? So stay with us. Hello and welcome back to the NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. We are here discussing Rahul Gandhi's newfound tryst with Hinduism. We discussed how it has a larger national appeal, and maybe Rahul is also trying to sell himself as an alternative to the Hindutva of Modi. It can be a plan B also, but...
Yeah, definitely. There is an alternative narrative at work, but I was just looking back. The present generation and the preceding generation, they've all grown up on, in large parts of the country, have all grown up on the BJP kind of narrative on Hindutva, and let's face it, somewhere or the other, it has permeated into the subconsciousness. It may not be the only factor influencing their votes in an election, but it's definitely there, because the BJP has cleverly fused Hindutva with its own kind of brand of militant nationalism. So, so Rahul has really to take care of two fronts. One is an alternate Hindutva narrative, and kind of trying to fuse it with patriotism. I mean, it's not that anybody is questioning the Congress's nationalist credentials, in fact, which I believe are far more stronger than the BJP, given the history of the country. But Rahul would have to emphasize, because it's not just about temple visits or undertaking pilgrimages and so on. You have to, in the end, articulate. And I'm waiting for the articulation. How is he going to articulate it? Because he did try for a bit in Gujarat, but the articulation was still not very cogent. It was more optics, than articulation. So I do want to see how the Congress enshrines it in its manifesto or statement of declaration for 2019, to what extent Rahul uses it in his discourse, how the BJP counters it, because you can see that, as I said earlier, BJP is getting very irritated. So how does the BJP counter? I mean, how much stronger can the BJP make its Hindutva narrative? It's already kind of peaked, you know.
They're going to build the temple, that's what they say.
That's what they are saying, but I mean, there is no sign of anything from the apex court. So how are you going to do that? So somewhere or the other, you see the BJP getting edgy, and you know also, because there are already voices in the BJP which say that at least in Atalji's time, he made an effort. You know, you used elements like the Kanchi Shankaracharya and so on. Joshi ji did pursue a Hindutva agenda in the HRD ministry, Saraswati, mapping the lost Saraswati river and some underwater excavations in Dwaraka and so on. But you have not come across any firm statement of commitment to Hindutva in this government. So how are they going to take the Hindutva narrative forward? That remains to be seen, because they're already battling on various other fronts. Economy, no matter what the statistics say, economy, Vikas, some of their the programs, the flagship programs are fraying at the edges. So how are they going to answer all that? Really interesting.
And how is Rahul going to articulate it, you know, given the perspective of where the Congress comes from? This is the party of, as you said, Pandit Nehru and Indira Gandhi.
I think he, at present, apart from strengthening organization and other priorities, he has realized, and he was pushed to, because after the defeat in last Lok Sabha election, the Antony committee was formed to review the defeat, and they came out with this suggestion that, you know, Congress has been projected as a pro-Muslim party, anti-Hindu party. So that was the major reason they defeated in the Lok Sabha elections. So there was a pressure on Rahul Gandhi from day one that to push this Hindu agenda in the party, rank and file. So you see, that's why the same thing, when he formed his new committee, no upper caste leader has been appointed. Even Digvijay Singh, the tallest Rajput leader, was dropped from the CWC, and then Motilal Vora is removed. Janardhan Dwivedi is removed, CP Joshi is removed. So what kind of a message they wanted to give, they are confused a little bit. But at the same time, he personally feels, and party MPs and functionaries, you talk to them, they say all the time he talks about Shiva and his devotion, personally. So I think whatever he is doing is helping them. He personally feels it, and the party office bearer, they accept it personally. This is helping them, pushing Hindutva agenda.
You'll agree it's helping them?
I don't know whether it is helping them or not, because, you know, how much credibility does Rahul's, you know, sudden love for Hinduism or Shiv Bhakti, you know, is there? I mean, so far, how are the masses accepting it? Most important for him is to, you know, first of all, strengthen his organization. You know, the first working committee meeting had 239 people attending. There were not even 5 amongst those people who attended who can win a Lok Sabha election. You know, essentially you have to first, you know, have work at the grassroots level. You have to, you know, strengthen the organization, the kind of appointments that have been made, you know, people in various states, I mean, the kind of feedback you get. In many states you get the feedback that they are not, going to deliver. And so far as, I mean, all this is fine to blunt BJP's criticism. It is fine for the optics. It is fine to play a certain kind of a political game. But is it good enough for the Congress to be, you know, brought back to power? And if the Congress is to lose, say, elections, and if it is to lose the next Lok Sabha elections, it will be very difficult for even Rahul Gandhi to continue as a leader of the party.
Do you think so? I don't think so. With the Congress,
there will be a revolt. There will be a revolt. I mean,
I think they'll look at the numbers and the percentages and find some silver lining.
If Congress was to lose, say, Madhya Pradesh.
But, you know, I just want to say one thing, you know, about the Congress party. You know, the Congress party has never really articulated things very clearly, because it's not an ideologically driven party. You know, unlike the BJP, unlike the left, which are very ideological parties, the Congress is not an ideologically driven party. You know, it tends to rely much more on signals and symbolism and unstated things. So you know, like Indira Gandhi, I think, you know, Mahatma Gandhi was one of the last persons who really, or Nehru even, I think they were the two last persons who spoke in very clear ideological terms, you know. But when you see from Indira Gandhi onwards, you know, it was, I mean, she did Garibi Hatao at the same time, you know, she sort of pushed the upper caste, you know, she promoted upper castes a lot. So, you know, it's much more unstated. So I don't think Rahul really needs to spell out what his, you know, the Hindu narrative that he has. I think Rahul is relying more on symbols, and that is why, you know, the trip to Kailash Mansarovar, or, you know, talking about him being a Shiv Bhakt and so on. You know, I think we need to see what is happening on the other side. And, you know, that is very, very interesting, because the BJP today is caught in this contradiction between trying to woo the scheduled castes, which they did through that amendment to the SC/ST Act in the last session of Parliament. But, I mean, the backlash has been quite severe. There were 55 places where there was looting, arson, rioting, you know. And I know that many BJP MPs, when they go into their constituencies, they're surrounded by angry mobs of upper castes who are lashing out at them, saying that you have betrayed us. Why did you have to do this act? Why did you try to overturn the Supreme Court ruling on the SC/ST Act? So, you know, I think we need to look at that. And I think that that is what Rahul, you know, should cash in on if he can, which is, you know, sort of...
But he's also tweeted against the SC ruling, and he, you know, if you look at Rahul's own words, he has also supported the amendment.
That's right. But the fact is that the upper castes have always considered the BJP their party.
National party.
And, you know, they have been a very strong constituency for the BJP. When the BJP betrays them, then in their anger, they can turn anywhere, you know. So, I mean, this is an opportunity for Rahul, if he's clever, you know, to be able to manage, you know, these contradictions and turn it in favor of the Congress. I mean, that will require tremendous political skills. So, but the opportunity is there.
Opportunity is there. The optics are there. Now we have to wait and see what Radhika calls the articulation. But that's it from us. Thank you for watching this show. We'll see you again same time next week.